Oh, you didn't know? Welcome back to another episode of Long-Term Story Wrestling Podcast. It's me. It's that NICC, and it's just me and brother Jojo today. What's going on, bro?
What's up? What's going on? Happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday.
So what are we going to talk about today?
You know what we're going to talk about. Slammys, baby.
Slammers. So WWE's got the Slammy Awards. Voting has concurred, but at the same time, we are going to go down the list and give you our viewers here our thoughts and picks from the different options or the candidates for every category here. So let's kick things off here with the female superstar of the year. We got Liv Morgan, Rhea Ripley, Bayley, Nia Jax, Tiffany Stratton, Chelsea Green, Io Sky. Would you like to kick off this category, sir?
For me personally, it was Liv Morgan. Liv Morgan she showed out last year. You know what I mean? Like when Rhea got hurt. I'll be honest. I didn't know if if Liv was gonna show out because she was okay beforehand. I mean, her showing was okay, but she really stepped up to the plate. After Rhea got hurt, and then she became champion, and then all this other stuff. Dude, she had a really great year, and then she ended up going to the Judgment Day and all the other stuff. So to me, Liv Morgan was a standout. Of course, Rhea Ripley, she's a big star. She's one of the heads for the women's locker room. She did really good. Just wasn't my favorite that year. Bayley, my girl, my favorite. Yeah, she didn't have her year wasn't that good. You know, Nia Jax. Nia Jax was a close second for me. Like we've all been talking about this year. Nia Jax, she's really stepped up her game. She's really become one of those in-ring performers that like I've really come to respect her in-ring performances. She works a lot safer, and I mean if she was working safer before. When we all thought she was hurting people, I mean, she was hurting people, but she's really stepped up her game, and I don't know. I think Nia Jax had a really good year. She did have a really good year. She stepped up her game, and I really appreciate her efforts. Tiffany Stratton, I mean, she's the champ. Whatever. Chelsea Green. I mean, no, it's not that serious.
Whatever.
Yeah, I mean, it's not that serious, bro. Tiffany Stratton, not that serious to me. Chelsea Green, she's always good. Just wasn't the stick out to me. And, of course, Io Sky. I love Io Sky, too. But, she didn't rank the highest for me. So, yeah, it's got to be Liv Morgan.
Gosh. Yeah, this one's it's interesting because looking at the list, you know, you really got to think about the whole year. And I think, yeah, it's hard to argue Liv. Liv has probably had the standout year just because, it's unfortunate because like I felt like her showing at the Royal Rumble, right? Like to kind of kick off last year's Royal Rumble. And you think about like the way she's finished in the past few Rumbles, almost kind of led to almost I would say maybe she will actually win this past Royal Rumble, but it never happened just because she was like, caught up in her own storylines, and prior to all that, she was already did she still have the championship? No, she didn't have the championship.
No,
right?
She didn't. No.
Yeah, because Rhea had it. So like, if you really think about it, I don't think like the progression of what she had for this past year would have actually occurred if Rhea never actually lost, or actually if Rhea didn't get injured, right? So I think the how should I say it? Like the progression of Liv's title reign and such really occurred just because of Rhea's injury.
It did.
But she definitely capitalized on that opportunity because in this industry we know like injuries are part of the game, and typically when that happens, it's like next man up. It's always going to happen where somebody's going to actually have to step up and do their thing, right?
Right.
So at the end of the day, yeah, Liv Morgan probably the best option to go here in terms of who had the best year. I honestly would even go Chelsea Green like close second, just because even though she wasn't in the main title picture, I felt like her being the very first United States Women's Champion, and no knock on Lyra Valkyria, because her being the IC champ. I feel like Chelsea's just definitely been a standout in terms of like her relevancy on every
She is
week.
relevant. She
Like
is.
she does have like the comedic flair, like clearly like it changes up the pace of the show. But at the same time, we also like got the, like her being the inaugural U.S. Women's Champion, being kind of like a big, how should I say, accolade for her career. That to me like sticks out a lot. At the same time, like she's now got the, what is it called, like the secret Hervis or Hervis, secret Hervis. Sorry, I'm just like juggling and like fumbling over my words here, but yeah, nonetheless, I think those two probably like the biggest standouts out of all the women.
No, and Chelsea Green, she's made that belt relevant, dude. I'll be honest. As far as in the women's division, I pay more attention to Chelsea Green than I do Lyra Valkyria. And like I said, like you were saying, nothing against Lyra Valkyria, right? She's a good wrestler too, but it's just Chelsea Green. She's established. She has that presence, and she's with that comedic action they've got going on. The Secret Service thing that they got going on. It's just, bro, it adds to it. She's really playing into her role as far as being the United States champion, right? So I mean, yeah, that's cool. That's cool.
No, for sure. At the same time, like the next category we see here, male superstar of the year. We got Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns, Gunther, CM Punk, Damian Priest, Drew McIntyre, Jey Uso, Seth Rollins. So this one's a pretty stacked group of individuals here. We could honestly make a case for every single individual here, but to be honest, it's gonna probably take a whole lot of time.
Yeah.
If I'm gonna go with one person for this past year, I gotta go CM Punk. Only because
that's an interesting choice.
Well, here's my reasons, right?
Jay would have been losing his mind if he.
I'm sure he would. I'm sure he would. And like, and this is not to diminish anybody's, like growth throughout the past year and like some of the things that they achieved, but CM Punk hasn't had a title, but let alone has been relevant throughout the whole year. We haven't gone into this category, but let's be honest. Like the feud that he had with Drew McIntyre, not even like this past year, but like probably one of the best feuds, just because there's so much invested heat.
There was layers to that.
Layers of like just layers and layers. Like you felt like this feud could not get stale just because how like real it felt. At the same time, it felt like must-watch TV, like the way they just really tied in like some of the things that happened over like the Royal Rumble where CM Punk gets hurt and then, CM Punk costing Drew that title. It was just like so masterful in terms of like just why they hated each other. Mm-hmm. But then like even like the promos and like the barbs that they thrown at each other throughout the whole feud made it so much more special. And then now, like, like leading into WrestleMania, like these past, PLEs and, Netflix debut, like, how he reignited that feud with Seth Rollins. It's just like, how can you not like what he's done, like without even having a title for that matter, mm-hmm. and just being like in the main event scene, so to speak. And then granted, like this past SmackDown, we're talking about, main events, now he's main eventing WrestleMania. I know there's gonna be a lot of criticism as to why they're, those three are main eventing, but that's a whole total different conversation here. But to me, CM Punk, just because of how he stood out, and there's another part of it too is just he's done a lot behind the scenes, and I'll say like especially elevated talent. We're just getting like a totally different CM Punk at this point, or we had like reservations. I'm not gonna claim like I'm the biggest CM Punk fan, but seeing what he gone through at AEW, and then coming back to WWE was already like a big shocker. Like health rolls over, but like
Yeah.
even seeing like his year as far as him after his actual injury, dude's like really nailed it. Like not just on the mic, but his matches have been really great. At the same time, the feuds, it's been must watch TV. So he's my pick for male superstar of the year.
My male superstar of the year is Drew McIntyre.
Okay.
Bro, Drew McIntyre, he just that guy. To me, I compare Drew McIntyre to Shawn Michaels because,
Interesting.
dude, Drew McIntyre is literally the workhorse. Like, so back when it was like the beginning of the Attitude Era, when Brett was still around and all that other stuff, they used to call the Intercontinental Championship, if I'm not mistaken, the workhorse title, right? And those were the guys that could run long matches. Like they were the guys that were actually putting on the really good wrestling matches compared to the main event guys, which was like Hogan, Warrior would come in, do like a couple of spots. Match would probably be like 8 to 10 minutes long at the most. But you had the workhorses, and to me, Drew McIntyre is like to me he's like Shawn Michaels level. He's a workhorse. That guy is a workhorse.
Okay.
Put him in whatever program you're gonna put him in, and he'll make it work. He'll throw jabs all day, and he'll figure out things to make that feud relevant. And that feud he had, like you were saying earlier, that feud he had with CM Punk, dude. As long as it went, it didn't get boring at all. Like I mean,
Yeah.
it was just
Exactly.
nonstop, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
it was nonstop, and like the further along they went into that feud, the worse it got. Like the insults, what they were doing it was getting worse and worse. And like, bro, I was here for that. That was great.
It's funny because like granted I went with CM Punk and you went with Drew, and it's like the clearly adversaries throughout this
Yeah.
past year, but at the same time, like you talking about Drew being a workhorse. Yeah, there's no knock on that. Like the dude's been, like always put in, great matches, but also the consistency of how he's performing on the mic.
That's exactly
also
what it
on the
is.
show.
He's consistent.
Yeah, so consistent.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I mean that's my choice, dude. I think Drew had a really good year. I really enjoyed watching all of his matches, watching all of his promos. Every time he comes out, he's just like, bro, this guy just rips into everybody. And I really enjoyed Drew this past year. He was a really good he was a standout to me. CM Punk, I'm not gonna knock CM Punk though. CM Punk, hey dude, like you were saying, we had our reservations when he came in, but yeah, this past year he was really good too. But I'm a Drew fan, bro, and Drew to me really put out this year. And if they don't put that belt on him sometime this year, I'll be surprised because Drew deserves one good run while he's still in his prime. And Drew's in his prime right now. So I think they should give him at least one solid run.
That's fair.
With the title. Yeah.
That's fair. So the next category we got here is most memorable entrance. This was kind of interesting for me just because like really we got a category for this.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I guess it pertained to like certain PLEs, right? So we had Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania, Jey Uso on Raw on the Netflix debut with Travis Scott, Roman Reigns at WrestleMania, The Rock at WrestleMania, Bayley at WrestleMania, Randy Orton at WWE Bash at Berlin, Seth Rollins at WrestleMania, Sami Zayn in Montreal, Sami Zayn at WrestleMania with Kevin Owens and Chad Gable. Then you got Logan Paul at SummerSlam with MGK, Dominic Mysterio at WWE Bad Blood, and Drew McIntyre at Clash of the Castle. You want to go kick this one off?
I'll be honest. The one that sticks out to me the most has to be The Rock at WrestleMania.
Okay.
And it's not because I think he had the best, but looking at the list, I can't picture any of them in my head because none of them were really memorable. not that they weren't memorable, but like Jey Uso on Raw on Netflix, I remember that one, but it's just like,
Well,
I
that's my pick.
yeah, I just I don't
That's
know,
my pick.
bruh, after I don't know, it's so the thing for me about that one is just I have this thing that I don't like Travis Scott, and especially after he snubbed my favorite wrestler of all time, Triple H,
At the
Papa
concert?
Trips, yeah, at the concert after he snubbed Papa H at the concert, bro, I hated him after that. So yeah, I was like, nah, screw this guy. I don't care. He come out with Jey Uso. Oh, and on a side note, I know this is kind of straying from the topic, but Jey Uso, please do not bring out a special guest at WrestleMania. Just come out and hype the crowd, dude.
I think he is.
I didn't want him to.
I think Sexy Red already confirmed that she probably
I
would
know
join
that's
him.
what I was hearing, and I don't want to see that. But yeah, Cody Rhodes. I mean, Cody Rhodes is cool because we knew he was gonna win. I don't know. The only one that really sticks out to me is The Rock.
I do remember the Rock's one. It was pretty theatrical. He kind of tends to do
Yeah.
that, like these big ones. I say Jey Uso and Raw only because like I was there. I think having to be there in attendance, it does affect you a little bit more as opposed to just watching it on TV. I did run it back, watch it on Netflix, just to kind of see how it looked on TV.
Right.
It was pretty nuts. Just because you do see Travis Scott with him, and of course, the reason why it was memorable for me is because you saw the dude like
Yeah,
he lit something up,
bro.
Yep, he was over there.
Lit one up.
Yeah, you could see it, like it was not like fog machines or nothing. Dude was straight up like vaping or whatever it was, and we knew what it was. You know what I mean?
Knew what it was, bro.
But the crowd was just so lit. Jey Uso just like the guy is so over. Like being on Netflix that first Raw. They went big. They went big. They brought Travis Scott out, and clearly, like got the crowd working. Good Lord, I want to say maybe like a good 10, 15 minutes. Like I don't know.
Yeah, that was a long one.
It was. I don't even recall like how it was like presented on TV, but just being there like live, it was just insane. Just to see how they got like Pat McAfee. They even got Michael Cole going. Like everybody pretty much like the whole crowd. It was just like it's just funny like seeing like some people like trying to like run towards like where they came down from the actual entrance. And
you had people like running across the aisle kind of thing.
Yeah, like people on like my side, like on this where we were all sitting. They ran across to the other side. Surprisingly, like security didn't stop anybody, but it was just so lit. Like having like the whole energy and all that. So that's why that was probably like the most memorable entrance this past year for me, just because clearly I was there to witness it, and at the same time, it was he's just all hype, man. Like and that was just like in a crowd, I think like 15,000 or whatnot. I just can't wait for Mania. Like, granted, he wins, that stadium is gonna be rocking.
Yeah.
Just like that whole Yeet movement is just gonna be like the Yes 2.0, so to speak. Yes chant 2.0.
So yeah, it is. So now that we've confirmed that that Jay is not gonna be main eventing, I really hope that he's the first match.
Open it,
Him and Gunther. Yeah, I hope they're the openers.
Almost assured that that's going to open up one of the nights, just because like it will get the crowd started if anything.
Yeah, because look at last year with Seth and Drew, first match of the night, dude, and they set the pace. They really set the pace for the night, and it was so. There's nothing wrong with going first, dude. I mean, going
not
first,
at all.
yeah, man. Yeah. I mean, if they can knock it out the park, they'll set the tone for the rest of the night, and the rest of the night will be good.
No, absolutely. And let's segue into the next category here. We got OMG Moment of the Year. So, Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns match finish. Dominic Mysterio turning on Rhea Ripley with Liv Morgan. Kevin Owens turning on Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes in October. New Day turning on Big E on Raw. Tiffany Stratton's Money in the Bank cash-in on Nia Jax. Damian Priest Money in the Bank cash-in on Drew. The Wyatt Six debut on Raw. Braun Breaker spearing ISO Speed at Royal Rumble. Bronson Reed hitting a tsunami on Braun Strowman onto a car. John Cena turning on Cody Rhodes at Elimination Chamber. Roman Reigns turning at SummerSlam. and Io Sky beating Rhea Ripley to become world champion. I don't know, man. This was a clear, landslide for me. I gotta go John Cena turning Cody Rhodes. It's almost like, how can you go up against that moment or being the OMG moment of the year?
Right.
Truth be told, I think the one that would have come close, like a close one, if John Cena didn't turn, would have been the Wyatt Six debut on Raw. Because honestly, the way that was pretty insane. Just the way it was presented, But it's almost like an afterthought now, just because it's been a while, and John Cena's heel turn, which was like really unexpected, more recent, and clearly the media attention that brought, just across all platforms is just insane. So yeah, I can't even really say there's much to explain on that part, just because.
Yeah, everybody knows.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna start with my close second. My close second has to be the Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns finish at WrestleMania, bro.
Okay.
It does not get more wrestling than that. That was the most wrestling finish to a wrestling match ever. I mean, they
Cinema.
literally, bro. Yeah, it was cinema, bro. They literally they brought it all.
Yeah.
Short of Stone Cold Steve Austin, they brought everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That was a great finish, and especially because we're all riding on that high for Cody finishing the story and everything.
Yeah.
And at that point, because WWE had already been in the business of doing swerves on us, and that's what's kept us coming back. Right? Is just the storytelling has gotten really good. So there was that possibility, because we all thought that Cody was going to beat him the first time, and Cody lost. So there was always that thing on our mind, like, oh, Cody could lose again. We don't know what WWE is going to do. So that was a close second for me.
I'm going to say for that one, though, like, for me, it wasn't oh my gosh, only because there was a level of predictability towards the end.
Yeah.
Not to say that it wasn't epic. It was epic. It felt
It
felt like Avengers Endgame,
Yes,
that's what it felt like. But
that's exactly
that's why it was cinema to me. But because I think the only thing that would probably drove it to that oh my gosh moment is if it was actually Stone Cold over Undertaker.
Yeah.
But I know that didn't pan out.
I know when The Rock was out, I was fully expecting the Undertaker to show. I mean, not Undertaker, but Stone Cold Steve Austin. I was waiting for the glass, dude.
Yeah.
I remember watching WrestleMania, and I was like, "Come on, where's the glass? Where's the glass?" And I heard the gong, and I was like, or the bell. I heard the bell, and I was like, you know what? Hey, that's cool.
It was still cool. It was still cool.
Yeah, it was still cool. Yeah, it was still cool, but it wasn't what I wanted. But that's okay. It was still really good. But my oh my god moment of the year is Braun Breaker spearing ISO Speed at the Royal Rumble.
Okay.
Bro, Braun Breaker did not give ISO Speed any love. That I felt the hate in that spear. That I remember standing up off my couch and I was like, "Holy crap!" That was crazy. That was my that one I have to say was my oh my god moment of the year, because I actually stood up from my couch and I was like, "Oh, what just happened? ISO Speed is dead."
Yeah, I know, man. They needed an ambulance for that boy. What's the next category? Faction of the year. Okay, so faction of the year. Not too many options here. We got OG Bloodline, Judgment Day, the New Bloodline, American Made, and Damage Control. Who you got?
I'm gonna go with New Bloodline because of one man, Jacob Fatu.
Okay.
Yeah, bro. Jacob Fatu, bro. This guy is crazy. And you know what? I wasn't on him until you guys had brought him up. I remember you mentioning that he had some crazy stuff on the indies. Mm-hmm. So that's after he had come into WWE and you had mentioned all of that stuff. I went to go look up some of his stuff in the indies, and bro, he's crazy, dude.
Oh yeah,
his
crazy
indie
athletic.
stuff was crazy. Like
promos are sick.
Yeah, his promos are good. His in-ring work is good. Like, bro, he's like me and Jojo. You know how you remember us in high school, bro? I'm big, and I shouldn't be moving the way, you know what I mean, the way I could move in high school.
Yeah.
And bro, it was the same way. It's just, but Yeah, dude, Jacob Fatu that guy is amazing, and
he got a little bit leaner too. Like
Yeah,
like
no, he did.
He got a little bit leaner coming into WWE, so
Yeah.
you could just see like his dedication to like make himself a
Yeah.
little bit more, out, not just presentable, but I guess
Yeah.
being in tip top shape. You know what I mean?
Right, bro, and yeah, just he's consistent too. Like his all gas no brakes. That's legit. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
He's
no, for sure.
consistent. Yeah,
Yeah.
so yeah, that's my faction of the year, but only because of Jacob Fatu.
I'm actually gonna go with the new Bloodline also, but I'm gonna say just not just because of Jacob Fatu, but I also feel like Solo did really well this year in presenting himself as the leader of the new Bloodline. Clearly, because the dude's like been in the shadow, kind of like in the background of his brothers, the Usos, and obviously the Tribal Chief. But the guy kind of came into his own. I
He
will
did?
say like, at first, like it just felt like a little bit like little slow in terms of his progression, but at the same time, he kind of held his own even when Jacob Fatu jumped on the scene. Like clearly, I felt like he was a real good heel. He genuinely made me not like him. Just from everything that he was trying to do, and I always kind of like made this comparison. Like, I don't know if you watched like that show, the Sopranos.
I've never watched it.
So
I think I'm like one of like 5 people on this earth that has not watched The Sopranos.
yeah, I'm not gonna say like I watched it in entirety, but there are like some things where I felt like it kind of like shadowed a little bit of like The Sopranos, where there was like a time where I believe the younger cousin, I forgot, and I can't say, I'm not gonna pretend like I remember all the names, but the younger cousin of Tony Soprano, right? Like, it almost felt like he was trying to, like take over and kind of be like the guy in charge, just because Tony had a way of doing things, and his cousin wanted to do it differently, and that's what kind of like it kind of gave me those vibes, right? Like at the same time, like I always talked about how when they had Tama like join the group, and Jacob joins the group, like these guys were more ruthless. Like they had a way of doing business. They were pretty cutthroat. They were really out there to hurt you. They didn't even care like how they weren't like political at all. They were just like, we're gonna fuck you up. That's their approach.
Yep, that was the approach.
Like if you think about the OG bloodline, with Roman, Paul Heyman, the Usos, and Solo, for that matter.
Yeah.
Solo's the enforcer, but he wasn't crazy.
Yeah, he wasn't crazy.
Because he still had to take orders, you know what I mean?
Right. The original Bloodline felt like it just felt like a well-oiled machine.
Yeah. It did have like a mafia vibe to it.
No, it did.
But they weren't going to go like do stupid things where it would expose them, right? Like it wasn't like reckless, so to speak.
It wasn't a reckless kind of mob theme, you know what I mean? It was a build our fortune, build our legacy, and then we're going to stay there, as long as we can, because that's what we do.
Yep.
But the new Bloodline is just like, we're gonna come on here, we're gonna F everybody up, and kick asses, take names, and then that's how we're gonna build our legacy.
Exactly.
And you know what? And you're kind of right. That Jacob and Solo, they were kind of the same because they're both enforcers, right? And with Jacob, I felt the same way. I felt the same way about Jacob as when Solo first came in, because they were that quiet, strong man. I mean, not quiet strong. Well, Solo was. Jacob was always the wild man, right? But they were that unknown factor. That oh, okay, like, you know what I mean? Like when stuff gets crazy, oh, these guys are gonna be the guys that come in and hammer down. And both of them were really crazy, but like I don't know, like, I know you like Solo as far as what he's done, and yeah, he did good as far as leading the new Bloodline. But I liked him when he didn't talk as much, and he was just the enforcer, like, and his theme song was perfect for him as far as who he was portrayed as, coming out as that wrestler. You know what I mean? And he's still that guy, but his current evolution, it's okay. It's okay. And I know it's him trying to figure it out right now, but I liked it better when he was the stronger silent type. But yeah, and that's kind of why like I've really shifted my focus to Jacob, because Jacob is just, bro, he is what he is. He has really good mic skills, and the thing I like about Jacob's mic skills is that he says what he has to say and that's it. It's really no fluff to his game. When it comes to spitting on the mic, he just says his piece and that's it. And I mean, I know that might not be everybody's cup of tea, but I like that.
I thought you were gonna hit me with the yada I mean.
Yada I mean.
No, like, it's funny because like Solo, maybe it has a lot to do with the character. Dude doesn't have his Ula Fala anymore. You know what I mean? So like, it takes away a lot of the aura. So now he's kind of trying to find his way back in, like, and reestablish his whole new bloodline thing. But it's like, it's not the same when you don't got the Ula Fala. And you told Tama back in the day, like, hey, if Roman gets it back, you gotta acknowledge him too. So it's kind of hard to like give orders when you're not really like looked at as like the tribal chief, so to speak. But yeah, like I think it does have a lot to do with just like the character development, and just it wouldn't make any sense, like, you know, if he still had that kind of control and he had no Ula Follow. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree.
Yada I mean.
Yada I mean.
All right, so next category here, Tag Team of the Year. All right, so we got DIY, Awesome Truth, A-Town Down Under, Jay Cargill and Bianca Belair, Motor City Machine Guns, The Bloodline, The War Raiders, Judgment Day, Street Profits, Liv Morgan, and Raquel Rodriguez. I'm going to start off by saying this list is garbage, only because the one team, I'm not even going to pick anybody here. I'll just be honest. The team that should be the Tag Team of the Year, Fraxium. Hands down. Like, no ifs, ands, or buts. They were like the team to watch. I've said this on many podcasts prior to this. If there was anybody that was doing something relevant in the tag team division, it was Fraxium. I thought that they had really great matches, not just and prior to the whole NXT TNA collaboration, they were the team, in my opinion, throughout the whole past year in WWE specifically, and they probably even have a great way of proving their case to being tag team in the industry, for that matter. But yeah, like this, I don't see how they're not on the list. It's disappointing.
Yeah. Looking at this list, dude, I gotta agree with you, dude. I'm looking at this list and I'm like,
it's so. I'm sorry, Awesome Truth. Like, let's be honest. I know why they're on the list, because them and A-Town Down Under, I believe last WrestleMania they were the ones that won the titles, and they eventually split the titles, right, to each brands. So I get it, but come on, really, like, you're gonna say that they're on this list over Fraxium?
Yeah,
that's just a travesty right there.
Yeah, you know what? I gotta agree with you. Dude, Fraxium, bro, their matches are bangers. I love Fraxium's matches. They're good. They're good.
And they have great chemistry. They do. I love the dynamic really between Frazier and Axiom. Like these,
yes.
I love the dynamic. It's also, it's funny because like sometimes they tease almost like as if they're gonna split, but you know, it's just like brotherly love. Like they're, you know, who doesn't have arguments? You know, like you know, within your family. So it happens, but at the same time, like those guys they perform. They're on a week-to-week basis. Tag team division, like the only thing I feel like has been keeping the tag team division relevant, for that matter. So, come on, WWE, what's going on here?
you're not wrong, dude. You're not wrong. No, there's a reason, bro. There's a reason that they're champs, right, bro? They're just they're so good. Their matches are so good.
They're so good,
That match with that match that they had with the Hardy Boys.
Oh yeah,
dude, that was such a good. I mean, we already knew they was going to show out, but you know what I mean, dude, it was so good. So I agree. Yeah, Fraxium should have been on this list. I don't care if they're from NXT; they should have been on this list. It's gonna be nice to see them when they come to the main roster. Oh, that's gonna be awesome. The only other like real tag team on here is what? The Street Profits, War Raiders. Yeah, you know what? Even the Street Profits, even as champs, bro. I don't know, dude. I don't know. Street Profits,
Yeah.
they're missing something. Like they have the look, they got the outfits, they have the in-ring skills. Just something is missing. It's just they're not catching on for me.
Like for me, the main roster tag team division hasn't really been elevated, and it's unfortunate because there are all these different teams here, that are clearly, like I would say Motor City Machine Guns. These guys are legends. Like coming from TNA and being now on the WWE brand, it's just like these guys are a legendary tag team. In their own right. DIY, we've definitely watched them on NXT for years, and like the rivalries between Ciampa and Gargano, they're pretty good, like memorable ones. Now that they're like, and I think this was the past year they actually went heel, like as opposed to like being baby faces as a tag team.
Yeah.
But gosh, it's just unfortunate. Like no matter how many of these good tag teams, War Raiders, for example, like gosh, Street Profits, like. No knock on them. It's just it doesn't feel as important as how it's been on NXT, specifically with Fraction.
I agree.
If for some reason or if there was a way to make them feel more elevated, and I know Trips is trying his best, trying to like put them in main events, like or the main eventing some of these shows, but it just doesn't. There's something's missing. It doesn't feel captivating.
It doesn't
See the tag team division right now. I don't know why, but it's unfortunate. But the one team that I'm like so high on, Fraxium, they're not on the damn list. I'm so frustrated by that. Yeah. And no knock the women's, like Jade and Bianca did a hell of a job like throughout the whole year being tag champions, and now you have Liv and Raquel like setting 3-time tag team champions.
Not for women. Sure, could be.
Yeah, so they're like the first ever like 3-time tag team champions for women's. But nonetheless, I just felt like this doesn't do any justice to who truly should be the tag team of the year.
I think, bro. You know what? I'm just gonna put it out there. Tag team of the year, A-Town Down Under.
I don't know, man. That's like.
All right, bro. That's how much I don't like this list. I'm just gonna say A-Town Down Under. That's where we're going with it. I'm gonna stick to my answer, and everybody just gotta live with it, bro.
That was a throwaway vote right there.
Yeah.
All right. Well, next one here, we got Rivalry of the Year. So, CM Punk and Drew McIntyre.
Hey, we can just stop right there,
Cody
bro.
Rhodes.
We can just stop right there.
That's
Punk
true.
And Drew yeah, we just stop right there.
Yeah.
With CM Punk and Drew McIntyre, that was the greatest rivalry of the year.
Was.
Nothing needs to be said about that. That was just the greatest. That was the greatest rivalry of the year.
And it's funny because like this list, I'll just go ahead and mention some of the other ones here.
Okay.
Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes, Liv Morgan, Rhea Ripley. That could have probably been a good, I would say, close second. Damian Priest, Finn Balor, Kevin Owens, Cody Rhodes, Nia Jackson, Tiffany Stratton, Bloodline versus Bloodline. Bloodline versus Bloodline, in my opinion, kind of like came at a later point, kind of lost its steam, but at the same time, it wasn't as good as CM Punk and Drew McIntyre. Maybe they should have threw in CM Punk and Seth Rollins onto this list as well, just because they have such a heated rivalry, and they felt like they made their rivalry must-watch TV as well. But yeah, hands down, CM Punk, Drew McIntyre. I don't think there's anything else that we need to say about that feud, just because we spoke so highly of them early on as far as like our picks for male superstar of the year too, right? But they clearly made a actual rivalry feel so relevant, and in terms of not just like the storytelling in the ring, but the promos were just fire.
You know what? And it's still relevant till this day, because look at what happened on SmackDown, right? CM Punk walking past Drew McIntyre.
It's still like straight up trolling too, like it's
straight
just,
up.
But it's so funny, and then Drew like through the whole thing about like, oh yeah, there was real glass in my eye. It was just like, oh my gosh,
No,
this is never ending. Never
I think
ending.
they said it was real. Like,
Yeah.
well, it's not the glass that got in his eye. It was the plastic or whatever that's in between the
Okay.
two. Yeah,
Yeah.
they said he really got.
But that's like it just pertains back to the whole Jungle Boy thing, you know what I mean? Like, why Punk and him like got into it.
Yeah.
And then just like thinking back, like speaking of Jungle Boy, remember like that one photo Drew took with Jungle Boy?
Yeah.
And then he deleted it. Oh my gosh, that was like next level trolling right there. and specifically because it was like in that feud too. It's like, oh, this is so good. It's so damn good. But yeah, but AEW needs to learn, like, you know, like not to go off topic, but AEW needs to learn, like, when these things happen, money can be made.
Money can be made.
You gotta just be a professional. Like, you don't have to like each other. Clearly, I do buy into the fact that some of these guys don't like each other. You know, clearly, like
100%,
like Seth and CM Punk. But look how good this rivalry has been. You know, not as probably good as Drew and CM Punk, but CM Punk and Seth, they work really well together, and they made really good matches, really good TV, and it's just like they just need to do good business. At the end of the day, that's what it's all about. The fans win. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yep. And you know what? They've really brought that the whole triple threat match. They really did bring it together within the last 2 weeks. So I mean, you know what I mean?
It's coming out. It's coming along.
Yeah, it's coming along.
Yeah, it's coming along. We got a couple more weeks, you know, leading to that, into Mania. Yeah. But yeah, like rivalry of the year, CM Punk, Drew McIntyre. I don't think there's anything else that comes close this year.
Yeah.
We got NXT Superstar of the Year, Obafemi, Roxanne Perez, Trick Williams, Ethan Page, Julia, Kelani Jordan. I know Jay's not here. I'm sure we all know who he would have picked for this category.
I don't know who would Jay pick. Who would Jay?
I don't know. Maybe
I'm leaning towards Ethan Page, but it could be somebody else.
Yeah, it's probably the name after it said Ethan Page. There's like no questions ever. Like with this dude, like he would have fired off already.
He would have fired off Julia.
Julia would have won every category if he was on here. Hands down.
Yep, hands down.
But yeah, NXT Superstar of the Year.
Ooh, that's a tough one.
I'm surprised Stephanie Vacker's not on this list.
Yeah. Well, how long has she been in NXT?
As long as Julia.
True.
And
I don't know.
And she's like done almost. She accomplished almost as much as Julia.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm surprised.
Oh, this is a tough one, dude. Well, it's a tough one, bro. Because honestly, like, I like Ethan Page. I think he's a really good in-ring worker. All of his matches are really good, and he's great on the mic, of course.
Oh yeah,
but, but his in-ring work is top tier.
He had a really good debut. I would say, like, you know, how he just came out to the scene and made his mark against Trick Williams. Clearly, like, already main evented and won NXT title. Yeah, his first paper PLE. So I could see why he's on this list. Yeah, but for me, honestly, the person that stood out was Roxanne Perez. Maybe it kind of like ties into the fact that she was also like really trusted and pushed in the Rumble. But her title reign as an NXT Women's Champion has, you know, like her feud with like, I'm sorry, not feud, but like matches like with Jordynne Grace, Bayley, clearly with Julia. Like, gosh, she's the prodigy. I have to remind myself that she's only 20, like, what is it, 20, 21 years old?
Is she really that young?
Or she's in her early 20s. I have to remind myself that. And
really?
She's already accomplished this much. You know what I mean? Like,
that's interesting.
So that's why she's NXT Superstar of the Year for me.
You know what? Yeah, you know what? I gotta. It's between, to me, it was between Obafemi and Roxanne Perez. I like Obafemi. His overall package, how he's packaged as a superstar. I like his overall package. His entrance, his wrestling style, his look. He has it, dude, and I'm excited for him to come to the main roster. I think he's gonna have some really good programs when he goes to the main roster. Yeah, you know what? But I have to go with you as well. Roxanne Perez was the superstar of the year between her going into the Hell in a Cell and not Hell in a Cell, the Elimination Chamber, and her outstanding showing at the Royal Rumble. I mean, like absolutely outstanding showing at the Royal Rumble. Plus all of her matches when Jordan Grace was still in TNA.
Yep.
Bro, that was a good match. Yeah, she's the overall like standout for this past year. Roxanne Perez,
yeah, like it's just like when you at like this past year when I hear NXT, I felt like Roxanne was the face. You know, like you like the face of the brand. You know,
I agree.
I couldn't think of any other superstar other than Roxanne Perez whenever you hear NXT, especially this past year. You know, and no knock on Trick Williams. Trick Williams, hell of a job.
He lost steam. He lost steam, bro.
You know, like he didn't have the title start of the year, or but then he did prove to show like he was a formidable, NXT champion, and I would say maybe even as like he was so over, like similar to like Jey Uso. I think we talked about this in the past, not on a podcast, but talking about like how hyped the crowds are, when they make their intros. It's like who's hype? Who's more hype, Trick or Jay? Who's more over? And
they had that one where both of them was in the ring at one time, right?
Yeah, like they had him do promos with some of the veterans, with Cody also, and it's like the guy's proven to show that he can definitely be a standout in the not just the NXT but in the main roster. But I think just this past year it's just been Roxanne the whole thing.
Yeah,
I mean like.
Yeah, you know what? This was actually a really good what is it? This is like it's a really good section because all of them are really good. Even though we didn't mention Kehlani Jordan, bro, she
was the inaugural NXT Women's North American Champion.
Yeah,
so I see why she's on the list.
Yeah, no, I mean, bro, I'm not knocking her at all, bro. She's good. Her in-ring work is really good. She may not have her mic skills may not be as good as some of the other girls, but Kehlani Jordan, she showed up. This is a really good section. So I mean, this one was kind of a hard one. Like I said, Obafemi, I really like his overall package, but yeah, Roxanne was the standout. Roxanne really, really did her thing this year, and I'm kind of excited to see what she's gonna do. I wonder if she's gonna come to the main roster this year, or if they're gonna keep her down.
I think so. There's nothing else for her to do in NXT. She can just finish up her fuse with like Jordan Grace and maybe run it back with like either Julia or Steph. But she's definitely main roster bound, in my opinion.
That's still kind of blowing my mind that she's that young. I didn't realize she was that young.
Yeah. It's so promising to see what she can do like now and then. Just she barely peaked. She barely reached her peak. You know what I mean? And like I feel like she's gonna just get better, especially when she gets to the main roster.
Bro, she's only 23 years old. That's crazy.
She's
that's
really
crazy.
Young. Yeah, she accomplished a lot, like early on, and I'm excited to see what she's going to do in the main roster.
Right.
All right, so we got match of the year. Starting off with Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes at Mania. Then we got CM Punk versus Drew at Hell in a Cell. Roman Reigns, The Rock versus Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins at Mania. Liv Morgan versus Rhea Ripley at SummerSlam. Damian Priest versus Gunther at SummerSlam. Cody Rhodes versus AJ Styles at Backlash. The 2025 Men's War Games match. Bayley versus Io Sky at Mania. Sami Zayn versus Gunther at Mania. Gunther versus Randy Orton at Bash in Berlin. And the Seth Rollins and CM Punk debut on Netflix.
Go ahead, bro. You can go first on this one.
Oh gosh, I think we kind of talked about it earlier. I would just say Reigns and Rhodes Mania, just the way the overall presentation of it.
Yeah.
Like these guys definitely, how should I say this? Like it is, the names itself were so big. Next thing you know it, all these other big names start to show up. And granted, did it need it? Probably not. But it definitely made it feel so much more epic, you know? And we go back to using the word cinema. It just gave me Avengers Endgame vibes, and the way you reacted when you saw everyone coming out, it was just like, I believe it was Jimmy first, right? And then you see Jay come in and counter that. Next thing you know, it Solo comes out and attacks Cody. Then I don't know if you knew like who's coming out next, but I almost sensed it was going to be Cena just because they kind of left that whole feud they had back in the day,
Yeah,
or
that's what I was
earlier on in
feeling.
the year,
Yeah,
as
that's
like
what I was
open ended,
feeling.
right? Like this is like you
Yep.
can't just have Solo take out Cena and like not having to do anything about that. So
Yep,
it was
yep.
clear like Cena was going to come out for that part, but then you see the interaction with Cena and The Rock. The Rock comes out, gives him the rock bottom. It's just like, ooh, this is getting good. And it almost felt like we got to see Austin. Austin's going to come out, but we got Undertaker, not to say he was any less. It's just, we just know the feud that The Rock and Austin had.
Yeah,
It was
bro.
one of
It's
the,
just-
the biggest feuds and rivalries ever. And I
yeah,
just felt like
it's
that
one
would
of-
have made it much, much more special.
Right. It would. I think if Austin had been there, it would have made it a little more meaningful. Because
Yes.
when I think back to the Attitude Era and all that stuff, when I associate The Rock, I always associate him with Stone Cold Steve Austin. That was like
Yep.
the main rival of The Rock to me. Anytime they fought, whether you know what I mean, whether it was they were fighting against each other, or they were on the same team and
Yeah.
still kind of bickering about it, or whatever was going on with them. Those two guys were always intertwined with each other, and they always had other people on the side, but those two were the main guys. So that's why when The Rock had rock bottom Cena, and I was totally expecting like that would have been the absolute perfect ending to that.
Yep.
If Austin had come out, oh man, that would have been. But you know what? I think it was Austin. Somebody had interviewed Austin, and he said he only wanted to do it if it was right. And I think it was him that said he didn't want to take away from Cody. Granted that during those interactions, nobody was thinking about Cody or Roman, right? We were watching what was right in front of us, and yeah, I mean, in the moment, I think Stone Cold would have took away from Cody and Roman, because people would have been so fixated, because we haven't seen Austin in forever. Taker, we see him every so often.
Yeah.
But I think everybody would have been so fixated on Austin being there that maybe it would have took away from the end. So maybe that was the right call. Maybe.
I don't think it would have took away, to be honest, just because
You don't
all
think
these
so?
other guys are already coming out, and
True.
we knew that there was gonna be an outcome of who's gonna win the title, regardless.
Right.
So the fact that it was gonna be Cody, or we saw Cody win, it was a moment on its own, just because of like the whole story, the long-term storytelling about Cody and his father not being able to win the world title, and Cody being the one to do it. It wouldn't have mattered to me. I thought it would have just been a special moment to see Stone Cold kind of like, hey, I haven't forgotten about you. You're my biggest rivalry, if anything.
Yep.
And I'm here to insert myself to the situation, because you ain't gonna screw Cody over. I'm gonna help him out. But nonetheless, I think that the whole presentation of this, and there's the other part of it too that I'll say, when Seth came out as the Shield, in his Shield gear, And a lot of people kind of like overlook this part, but talking about the long-term storytelling between him and Roman,
Yep.
the fact that Roman was so fixated on the turn, right? Like,
Yes.
instead of going after Cody, he had the opportunity to go after Cody.
He had the
and
opportunity
to win
Seth
the match.
was kind of down already.
Yeah, but instead he put his focus on his hatred for Seth. Because of that, cost him the match. So, like long-term storytelling at its finest right here. Because at the end of the day, the way it kind of was put together and how it transpired just made it so epic. And clearly, match of the year for me.
Yep, same here. Nothing else to be said. Roman Reigns versus Cody, that was the match of the year for me too.
Although, if I was to say match of the year based on the type of physicality and athleticism, the match that would have took it for me would have been Sami Zayn and Gunther at Mania, because I thought that was probably the match that just kind of like encapsulated a lot of like the athleticism and just the wrestling in general that made it a great match.
Yeah, that was a good match.
Yeah, because Gunther, like, what's to say about this guy? This guy is
right.
He's like the other workhorse that I would say out there. He is. And granted, he is the workhorse champion in my opinion.
Yes.
And then of course Sami Zayn, such a huge underdog story here. Granted, like, the way it all came down, it definitely had that whole like being in Philadelphia, the whole Rocky, the Rocky vibe, him and Creed. So it's just like, man, this was such a great match in its own right as well. But it's definitely hard to top like the whole cinema aspect of Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes that same night.
Yep.
All right, and then we got this was an interesting one. WTF moment of the year. It's almost like, not gonna lie, it feels like redundant for the OMG, but I guess let's see what we got here for the choices. We got R-Truth calls Triple H Ciampa, Kevin Owens car interviews, Chelsea Green goes into the dumpster, Dominic Mysterio in the shark cage, I Show Speed with Logan Paul at WrestleMania, LA Knight in Logan Paul's pool, R-Truth wrestles with John Cena, the rabid noises from Tama Tonga, Jacob Fatu, I Love You Solo, and the Wyatt Six debut. This thing is like a hodgepodge of like just a bunch of shit, man. Like
dude,
I want to call this
rabid noises from Tama Tonga.
I don't.
That's the best one. But that's mine. What the fuck moment?
I'm like, what the fuck is this category? Like that's what I'm thinking.
I think they were reaching when they made this category.
It's almost like I guess you couldn't put this together with the OMG moment of the year just because there would be so many to choose from. I gotta go with the YS6 just because like I wanted to say that for OMG moment of the year, but the Cena turn heel turn took it from me on that. But yeah, Y6 debut, just because of like the way it's presented, like it clearly looked like a murder scene.
Yeah,
I've never seen anything like that on WWE television ever.
So
that was a wild introduction, and it was just so perfect how they presented it. Just because when you think Wyatt Six and just like the characters involved. But it is kind of wild just to think, because when I remember like they were kind of like zooming in on some of the people that were like attacked in the back, you see like Chad Gable in the back with like almost like a bullet wound to his head or something, right?
No, that was the body that stuck out to me too. Was Chad Gable? I was like, holy shit.
Yeah, dude, and like there's all these other bodies and like blood stains on the walls. It's like, yeah, that was a wild moment. Nonetheless, yeah, WTF moment of the year. Definitely White 6 here.
Rabid noises from Tama Tonga, because that is literally the only thing last year that made me, on this list anyway, that made me say, what the F? You know what I mean? Like literally, till this day, when he makes that noise, I look at him like, bro.
If you gotta you can throw him up there. You might as well put Tongaloa's botches up here. those to me were WTF moments. Like, bro,
Who's that? Who's that? Does that guy even work in WWE? Does that guy even work there?
I would think so. You know, like he's like the forgotten member of the New Blood.
He is, bro. Like we don't even, bro. I don't even know where that guy is.
Yeah, WTF, Tonga. What the hell's going on? Where you at, bro?
Where you at, bro?
All right. Social star of the year. So we got two options here: Chelsea Green, Drew McIntyre.
Drew McIntyre. His trolling during CM Punk's his feud with CM Punk, masterclass.
Yeah, I would agree. Just because Chelsea is like she's actively on social media doing a lot of things, but Drew's like next level trolling. Like, and I think like that's what I think of when I think of like social media. It's like this dude's been like trolling CM Punk and it's just like anybody that he feuds with for that matter.
Yeah.
Dude's like he's got some. Oh gosh, like I think just like that the whole Jungle Boy post was the one for me, just because it's just like, dude, you got him to take a photo with you in the midst of this whole CM Punk feud. That was just next level. Next level. All right. And the last category of the list here, Breakout Superstar of the Year. This is a good list here. We got Braun Breaker, Lyra Valkyria, Penta, Obafemi, Julia, Tiffany Stratton, Jacob Fatu, Chelsea Green, and Stephanie Vecker. Who you got?
This one is a hard one for me. I'll be honest.
This is a hard one.
This one is actually a hard one. Stephanie Vecker is definitely a breakout. Jacob Fatu, everybody knows I love him. He's definitely a breakout.
I love you, Jacob.
Bro. The one I have a hard time with is Penta, because we all know we've watched WWE long enough to know that coming in as a luchador, you're fighting against the current. You know what I mean? It's tough, dude.
True.
It's tough. It's tough to be a legit luchador coming into the WWE, and that's why there's so little of them. Mm-hmm. But Penta, dude, this guy's got it. I mean, he's got it. He's got the crowd eating out of his hands. I mean, he's got it. Oh, this is a tough one.
If Penta was around for a little bit longer, as the rest of them were, and he sustained that momentum, yeah, hands down, he would be my breakout superstar of the year. But because of that main reason, I gotta go with somebody else.
I'm gonna go with Jacob Fatu. I love you, Jacob. You the breakout star of the year, brother.
I gotta go Breaker.
Yeah.
Because the way he's been presented, like the past year, it's just like he seems so unstoppable. Yes, he dropped the IC title to Jay that one time, but he also made outside of Gunther, he's made the IC title pretty relevant.
He did. He has.
Yeah. As far as like his title reign as as Intercontinental Champion, he's also just showed like a different level of dominance on his end, just because of the dude's just a beast. Like coming from NXT.
I agree.
Like he's definitely a mainstay on that Raw roster right now, and Lord knows he's eventually gonna be in the world title picture eventually.
Oh, guarantee.
Yeah. So, put him up against the Gunthers, and clearly he's had a few matches with Jey Uso, but down the line, whoever's going to be holding that world title, watch out. Breaker's he's
Breaker, yeah, he's coming, bro. He's coming.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised.
Young dude too.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't be surprised if they have Breaker drop the title this year and then put him in the main title scene closer to the end of the year. I wouldn't be surprised.
Mad at that. I can't be mad at that. Yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, like it's just almost seeming like it's inevitable for him to like be world champion on the main roster soon.
Yep.
But yeah, like he's had outstanding matches also. Like his style.
Oh wait. Jojo. I think I'm getting a feed. I think it's Jay and Jasper. I think Jay wanted to chime in. He said Julia forever, and Jasper said Stephanie Vicker.
No, man. I think my cousin. Hold on. His picks coming in. Soruka.
Soruka.
The biggest Soruka fan I know.
Yeah, yes, sir.
And of course, Jay's. Yeah, Julia. Every category here is his pick.
Yeah, it's Julia.
Yeah, no, but nonetheless, yeah, this is a pretty fun list. At the same time, pretty fun episode. You know, having to go through all like the different Slammy categories. Definitely looking forward to the actual Slammy Awards. I think it's happening at WWE World, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it's at WWE World on the 20th.
Oh, on the 20th. So
Yep, Sunday, April 20th.
Oh, so just before Mania, then. I'm sure. I'm wondering. I don't even think I got tickets for that day, just for that reason, or just thinking because I didn't want to like overwhelm myself that weekend.
Yeah. Hey. And I just wanna throw it out to the universe. I know you're gonna go see Jacob Fatu when you're there.
Mm-hmm.
Jacob, we love you, bro. Yada the mean. Give us a shout out, brother.
I'm hoping so. I'm hoping so. Him and like some of the other ones I got scheduled for that weekend. But nonetheless, thank you again for joining us. This is the LTS Wrestling Podcast. Please continue to follow us, subscribe to the channels, check us out on all our social media platforms. Otherwise, we are out. Man, we had Jay on here.
I know Jay would have so much to say, bro.
Just yes, it's so much to say. Like gosh, like every freaking category over here. Julia,
social media star of the year.
Yeah,
Julia.
Top 5 female superstar of the year. Julia, and Julia. Male superstar of the year, Julia. Male superstar. Tag team of the year, Julia.
Faction of the year, Julia.
Rivalry of the year, Julia.
Julia
versus Julia. Just Julia. Any rivalry with Julia.
Oh my God! Moment of the year, Julia taking off her mask.
Seriously, man. There's like no point at all like to even like throw anybody else into these categories. Just Julia, everything.
Yep, just Julia.